Rams fans, welcome into a brand new episode of the Rams Report by Chat Sports. Today, we unfortunately have some extremely disturbing allegations to discuss around Rams star wide receiver Puka Nacua. TMZ has released a report detailing a restraining order that was filed against Nacua in December of last year that contains allegations that, as I said, are extremely concerning, including both an anti-Semitic and extremely vulgar remark that Puka reportedly made, as well as allegations that he bit a woman twice. We're going to get into all of these details on today's episode, starting with what TMZ reported. They said, unfortunately, the woman says the remark was just the first act in what became an escalating course of rude or vulgar, threatening, violent, and harassing conduct by Nacua. After eating, the woman says she and her friend, along with Puka and others, got into a Sprinter van when he became touchy-feely, quote. She says Puka, out of nowhere, dropped his head into her girlfriend's lap and crotch area and bit her thumb so forcefully that she screamed in acute pain before turning to her and biting her left shoulder and breaking skin, leaving a circular imprint of his teeth. They said they left at that point, but later in March of 2026, remember these allegations reportedly occurred on December 31st of 2025. In March of 2026, she says a mediation conference was convened where attorneys for both sides, along with a crisis PR team, were set to discuss what allegedly went down months earlier. The woman says Nacua's team threatened to contact TMZ and other press and media outlets and to disseminate false, inaccurate, and or deliberately exaggerated public statements about the events of December 31st of 2025. So in totality, we have this. Nacua made vulgar, anti-Semitic remark at the beginning of the evening. We're not going to discuss the details of that remark, but know that it was extremely vulgar. He then reportedly became increasingly erratic, I think is the word that you would use to describe the behavior that is listed here. Vulgar, harassing behavior from him as the night continued. They then get into the van. They leave the restaurant, I believe that it was, and he allegedly bites. And this is where things get a little unclear because of the phrasing. And I don't want to speculate too much about this. But the way I'm reading it, it seems almost as if he bites both the accuser, the woman filing for the restraining order, and the friend that was with her as well, biting the friend on the thumb and the accuser on the left shoulder. Again, if I'm misreading that and it's just one person that was bit, that could also be the case. If the accuser's thumb was in her friend's lap, that could be the other way that you could read that, because it doesn't seem like a second person being bit is being reported in other things that I'm reading. So I want to clarify those details, because if it confused me, I would assume that it would probably have confused some other people. And then the last bit, there is an allegation that Puka's legal team allegedly threatened to contact TMZ and other press outlets, essentially trying to get ahead of the story. And as I think about that, I think it's not unfair to maybe connect the dots that might indicate that the woman involved here is potentially a public figure. I'm not going to speculate about identity, but you think anytime you involve TMZ, that Nacua's legal team would be reaching out to TMZ to get ahead of the story. TMZ's interest would primarily circulate around public figures of some variety. So not out of the realm of possibility that the woman involved here is also a public figure. But either way, all of this is, I think, undoubtedly extremely concerning, and also just as undoubtedly, and there's no good time for any of this to happen, but if there's a worst time for all of this to happen for Puka Nacua, it is absolutely right now, in the midst of everything that is going on for him, all of the things that we've seen come up around him. And I think the anti-Semitic remark, obviously, it brings you right back to the Aiden Ross live stream from last year, where Puka faces similar hot water allegations of anti-Semitism. as that celebration was definitely a anti-Semitic gesture. Definitely appeared to be an anti-Semitic gesture, and Puka would ultimately apologize for that. So once again, Puka Nacua finding himself facing allegations of anti-Semitism, the last thing you want to be coming back around for you again, and it's just, there is no good timing for this. But I don't think you can have this conversation without having the conversation about the contract and about the fact that the Rams have to make a decision on Puka in the next year. And as things like this continue to happen, and of course, these are allegations, you're going to have to monitor this. I think it is fair to say at the very least that this delays that this delays any sort of decision, because you need to figure this thing out first. Of course, Puka is innocent until proven guilty, as anyone would be in these situations. And this isn't a criminal filing. So at the end of the day, it's going to be hard to prove Puka guilty. But the Rams need to do their research here. The Rams need to do their homework. They need to find out a lot about this situation and how credible these allegations are. Because the commitment you're being asked to make to Puka Nacua is not a commitment you can take lightly at the end of the day. If these allegations are true, it's hard to want to do that at the end of the day. It's hard to want to reward that kind of behavior with a monster payday, with a enormous commitment from an NFL team. I don't think that's the kind of guy that anybody should want in their locker room if these allegations are true. And again, it is all based on if these allegations are true. That's what I'm going to say. It's all based on whether or not these are true. The Rams have to continue to monitor the situation, and I don't think you can make any sort of decision around Puka and his contract in any sort of material way until you have solid answers on these allegations. We're going to leave a link in the comments to the TMZ article. If you want more details on the allegations, they did also include some photos as well that we opted not to. But if you want more information around this, that is available to you. It will be in the description, and I'll have it in the comments as well. Just the last thing you want to hear around anybody, both in the NFL and just in general, these kind of allegations are not fun to discuss at the end of the day. But we have to talk about how this situation affects the Rams and how it affects Puka Nacua, especially with the upcoming contract. It's something we'll continue to monitor as there's developments on it over the next couple of months. So make sure you are subscribed. Make sure you're locked in, because even though these aren't fun videos to make, we will keep you guys updated on everything around this team, from the fun stuff to the stuff that is incredibly serious, the stuff that we have to take pretty seriously. And this is absolutely in that category. We're going to see you guys in the next one, hopefully a bit of a lighter video. As always, let's go Rams, and we'll see you then. We appreciate your time.